So this is why Eric exposes, along with many of us, Jeff Renz. The same Jeff Renz who pushes the false trail conditioning known as bird flu and the HIV virus bunkum. The same Jeff Renz who has appeared on British Intelligence Broadcasting Network, the BBC, for God's sake, what we call the Blair Broadcasting Network. Really the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC. The same Jeff Renz that discredits truth with much info, that's bunkum such as UFOs, etc. He's got some right crap on there, it's done by design. On the Cumby issue, this is clear when you read the texts and emails to him from Eric and like on his blog. Just because someone highlights something that's occultist doesn't mean that they're not an agent or even wrong for that matter. And we're to worship these people like a god and not be able to say anything about them. Wrong. Do your homework, Shill. My God, you can see the fear on Alex Jones' face as his fortunes start to go up in smoke. Well, news for you, Alex. You've now poured gasoline on the flame. What a darn screw-up. So, Mr. Tex Mars, do you know the address of your prophetic ZionistChampions.com? Yeah, another stupid move, never allowing people to see the real information totally, highlighting yourselves as the frauds you are. Again, Tex, you bring up the Zionist connection, and apparently Eric not liking anyone bringing up the Mossad. I hear Eric speak of Mossad many a time. Why don't you speak of who created Mossad, being British intelligence, William Stevenson, and all the Knights of Malta behind the CIA, which was created by the same William Stevenson? Again, because we can go higher than this piddly Mossad that you seem to blame for everything. You don't seem to like it, do you? Again, you'll hear these people go on about Mossad this, Mossad that, but when we say that it's the Jesuits behind this and that, they say that we're weird. It's a joke. So now Tex gets on to his greatest discovery, and this is nothing more than Eric Phelps is supposedly this great big diamond merchant. First of all, Eric simply asked an Israeli friend, basically, if he knew anybody who sold diamonds in Israel, and he was put on to a man who did. That's because diamonds are best from Israel. Eric's hardly any diamonds, he's hardly had any diamonds from Israel after all. It's really funny indeed, really. Eric's no merchant, his wife simply makes jewellery to try and earn some form of a little living, amongst a few other small business ventures they're using. Eric gets no fat paychecks from millions of blinkered profane sheep and from the intelligence crowd like Alex Jones and Mr. Tex Mars. It's like if I had a friend in Rome who could, get me good medicinal herbal tinctures cheaper than my supplier. Would I use them? Of course I would. But if he was a Roman Catholic, I wouldn't know, period. The point is, right, that it doesn't mean that I'm in leagues with Rome, does it? So if I went on vacation to Rome, would I suddenly become a stooge of the order? Of course not. If I did go to Rome, it would be basically to investigate that mysterious house of Jesuit, the headquarters of the Jesuit, the same house which most tour operators out there don't even claim exists. I wonder why. You have to go and find it yourself. So the big discovery turns out to be a flop. Tex Mars' great discovery, it's a flop. So Eric publishes his business site selling diamonds from Israel with his name and everything against it. Why would anybody put the name against it if there was an agent of Israel when they could easily be found out? Let's get some sense here, especially with all these fanatic blinkered Zionist haters that are out there, like these Daryl Bradford Smiths and people like that. The only thing I'll give credit to with Daryl Bradford Smith is he did have a guest on who exposed the truth about AIDS and about how HIV is a load of rubbish, like I've earlier explained briefly. I'll give him credit on that. Not many people have anybody on who talks the truth about HIV. And I've listened to a bit of his financial peoples now and then. But the Zionist stuff, there's some good info there, because Zionists are part of the problem, but they are Hof Judans working for their Pope, period. But we still have to recognise their crimes, that's for sure. So basically, you've got these Zionist haters, and Eric's going to show himself up so easily to Zionist haters who are looking for any excuse to get him. As if. Let's get real. I know we live in an illusion or Luciferian world, but let's just get real for a period of time at least, you know. A lot of these Zionist haters don't even understand the word for starters. They don't even realise there's different types of Zionists, and then they don't even understand the word itself as such, and they don't even understand the connection to how it was really Zionist with an S, like the Jesuits were the Company of Zion with an S. The same Zionist haters basically who believe Zionism is the leadership when in fact it's Luciferianism, and they're both very different, contrary to what some may make you believe. So he meets with various unnamed people, does he, Tex Mars? This is what he says about Eric Phelps again. I mean, well, first of all, should we always disclose all our friends around the globe all of a sudden? But Eric has highlighted this great mystery man anyway, who's just his friend. He's an investigate researcher or something like that. I mean, he said his name now. So what are you going to do now, Tex? So by now Alex gets excited about Eric being on an Israeli radio show and going to a Jewish university. So are all Jews bad? But remember, Alex Jones was down at St Edward's Jesuit University. What hypocrites are and dumb ones, you know. They're so hypocritical, it's incredible. What's good for one ain't good for another, you know. I bet the Jesuits laughed the socks off at these idiots. Is it any wonder the conspiracy has continued for so many years thanks to the trash not highlighting the true cause all this time? If you keep highlighting bottom lower levels, you're never going to get rid of it because the top's still there, the core's still there, or the centre's still there. That little tiny yod in the centre. So you're not going to, they're just going to make a new group and start the agenda again, aren't they? That's why we've gone through this mess for so long. So, Mr. Tex, you want to get onto the IRS issue now, don't you? And maritime law, with Alex Jones. I mean, why are you protecting your Maltese masters and their slave system all of a sudden? Eric isn't trying to get anybody to copy or follow him on his sovereignty status. What about when Jordan Maxwell speaks on this subject and his sovereign status? Why have you had him on your show, Alex Jones? And remember on, one of the few people that's talked about maritime is Jordan Maxwell. I do have to give him credit for that. He was the first main guy I learned about that from, along with a few other things. Again, you have to eat the meat, spit out the bones. But Alex Jones has him on his show. Remember, Eric has only filed the last 6 years and all for zero. I mean, Alex claims everybody has been had for this, but how come Eric hasn't? If you'd followed the truth, then you'd have seen a good while back how the IRS were on Eric's back, and his reply letter to him, which was on my site and everything, which was basically a masterpiece of truth in itself. It was great. Just speaking of the Jesuits and everything to the IRS. Not that most of the compartmentalised side of the IRS would understand what he was saying, but if it was handed to the above, which no doubt it will, then they'll understand what he's saying. You know? So he wrote that letter, and that was very good. Now tell me, Alex, if you think maritime is a fraud, then how come some of the people who try and understand it have actually won their cases, as highlighted on one of your shows recently? Do you honestly think if it's a fraud, how can some have won? Do judges just quit something like that if it's a fraud and they can get somebody? Give me a break. There's nothing to it. You haven't a damn clue on the subject. Now why, Alex, was you promoting Aaron Russo's video, which spoke all through it about the non-existent law for filing tax returns? Yeah, and the fraudulent IRS and the Federal Reserve. You don't speak about the true high top levels of the Federal Reserve and the maritime system behind it properly, do you? But you promoted that video. Why? Do you think Aaron Russo was full of dung as well? Now let's get down to some nitty gritty here. Why did Aaron Russo and other shills not mention HJR 192? HJR 192. 192. And how it works. Eric did, and he warned everybody what they were being told by the likes of Russo doesn't actually work. the way that they're telling you, thanks to this hidden HJR 192.